Hello all you crazy people out there, my name is Michael, I like wizards and dragons and making games. Welcome back to Making Games. So at the end of last week's video, I promised that I would do another bug fixing slash code maintenance slash polish video, and I think that's what we're gonna do. Hopefully this will be a little bit shorter than last week's video. I know that one ran a little bit long, it probably should have been two, but nevertheless here we are. And I'm going to start, I think, by taking on some of the most of the tasks that are in the to-do list for today, in the in-progress section for today, are things that I wrote down, like, off recording when I was playing the game for other reasons. And some of them may have ended up there, during previous recordings. But I'm going to first take on the ones that are labeled bugs, and then the ones that are labeled, like, design or just general programming tasks I'll take on at the end, or I might put them off further if this ends up running long, because I don't really want another hour-and-a-half video. The first one should be fairly easy. When you restart a level, the pause UI does not go away. If I were to run the game, I could show you exactly what that's all about. And that's, it's pretty straightforward exactly what that's about. It shouldn't be hard to fix. If I were to pause the game and restart, yes please. The foes do their transition and thing, but the would you like to restart the level thing doesn't go away. And dealing with that shouldn't be too bad. I'm going to... let's have a look at the initialization room where the UI is laid out. And if I were to look in the gameplay UI, would you like to restart? I believe this here is the yes button. That is the yes button. Game controller restart level. And when you call game controller restart level, which is going to be over here, we're going to do with level object instance destroy room restart. We also need to, I think, unpause the game. And hopefully, when you set the game state to playing, hello, hopefully that should also make the pause UI no longer be rendered. Alright, one line of code fix, my favorite kind of fix. Alright, let's get out of there. And that's the first one out of the way. Pretty easy. Alright. Next up, game should clear all enemies and spawners after bosses are defeated. This one, I'm not 100% sure if I am doing this, and I'm messing it up in some other part of the code, or if I'm just forgetting to when a boss is defeated. Is it boss template or template boss? Come on. Faux boss template. When you are defeated. Alright, so we are saying with spawner instance destroy, with entphone nat specifically instance destroy. I suspect some of the confusion may be happening in that I probably should just destroy all foes when the boss dies. Where do the particle effects puff? Is that in the inherited die method? It probably is. I don't think I had that happen in the destroy or cleanup events. Yeah. I did that on purpose. It might be more dramatic if all foes when they die, for example, when you were to defeat a boss or whatever, and have them cleared automatically, would just puff away like that. In which case, I would put this code in, I think, the cleanup event, or at least in the destroy event, because then it wouldn't make sense to happen when you transition rooms. So if I were to go into the destroy event over here and make that happen, that might make more sense. This is kind of 1.5 fixes in one. Alright, this is going to be a boss level, isn't it? I forget if I put a boss in 6. I think I did. I think there was a beehive boss in level 6. Alright, I made it this far without dying, and yes, I also need to... I can take damage on the level clear screen. I should probably add that to the to-do list if I haven't already, but all of those enemies were automatically cleared when the boss was, which is what I want. I'm going to, because level 9 features spawners with the boss. I'm gonna test that level too. And apparently I can't. Why can I not? Or why was it not? I don't know. I will have to investigate that as well at some point. Let me get to the end of this level first. Alright, that was a little hard to see. Wait. Why? The spawners are not going away. Why are the spawners not going away? We should have the spawners going away. Are these deactivated? Can these be deactivated? Oh, they're call later time sources also. That's what it is. Alright, what would be the most pain-free way of canceling this? I guess... if not, self.alive return in the destroy event equals false, because as I mentioned, instances when they're destroyed do have sort of phantom structs referring to themselves that hang around in the background if there's a time source that still calls back to them later on. But alright, was able to enter level 9 right off the bat that time. That would indeed cause the time source to keep running after, or the call later callback to keep happening after the instance has been destroyed, which is not what I want. So I'm going to beat this level again. Alright, are you going to keep spawning? I do not see anything else spawning, although the enemy bullets certainly are, or at least certainly stayed on screen, which is not really something I want to happen. Alright, so this was several relevant edits made at the same time. All foes will be cleared after defeating a boss. We will have foes always emit particles on death. This change to the faux template.yy was also part of that. And lastly, spawners will not keep spawning after they are destroyed. Okay, that fix was a little bit more involved than I expected it to be, but we can finish that off. We can say foes on paths keep following the path even when the game is paused. I would like that to not happen. Where is the faux template? There is a fancy path start over here, and then that just kind of keeps happening regardless of whether or not the game is playing. So I can say if is playing, do something else. No, we'll just keep it as if not is playing because the else is handled up here. Path, what is it? Path set speed. No, that is for the paths themselves. Path speed. Can I just set that to 0 if is playing is false, and then if is playing is true, if active is false, or if path exists, self.path loop, then we can just actually wait a minute. Can I make this simpler? What is the default path speed? And this is an instance variable, so I should prefix it as such. Can I get away with just doing that? So if I were to pause the game... Nope. You are... You kept following the path. Hang on, let me find a level with a more elaborate It's also possible that path speed, like I'm not using the variable that I want to use. Setting path speed to 0, and therefore it should be. If I F1 over this... Oh, I also need to return after this, don't I? Because otherwise it's just setting it back to the default, isn't it? Yeah, now they stop and resume. Okay. I think that's all I need to do for that. When the game is not paused, the path speed gets set back to its like, starting value. Alright, let me just make sure... I feel like as a general course of action, I don't like this level for testing purposes because it takes a long time. I feel like as a general course of action, it's a good idea for me to run through a little bit of the game after making a change like that. Because I don't remember if path speed will like make the game act funny if the instance doesn't have a path assigned, but it doesn't look like it will, which is good. Okay. This is another level where I feel like I don't like how close to the top of the screen everything is. What is this, level 5? This is wave 2. Why is there an effect layer? I don't remember why I had that there. Anyway, wave 2 can be moved farther back like that. Alright. Anyway, this looks good. I'm getting out of there, I'm getting out of there, and I'm getting out of there. And we can commit some changes. Foes will not follow their paths when the game is paused. And also... gonna move some of those foes back. And... I can check that one off. Apparently I thought that was going to be a little more work. Using an alt attack on a centipede when there are more than one segments on the screen at once causes a crash. I have written a fix for this. I would rather that GameMaker like updates to fix the bug that was causing this to be a problem in the first place. I have submitted a bug. I have not heard back from them yet. If I don't hear back from them in a few days, I'll assume that it got buried under a stack of other things and I'll probably nag them about it again.
Hey.
But this will be dealt with, and centipedes will not hard crash the game before it like ships. Obviously, that would look really bad if they did. Settings menu alignment from the title screen. Let me look at that again. I think I remember what this was about. I'm pretty sure this is just a matter of, yeah, it's trying to center itself in what would be like the gameplay UI, but it should be centering itself in the game window. And I have a generic like UI object, don't I? Parent UI. The end step event. Oh, this is gonna drive me insane, isn't it? This is gonna be an apparently simple fix that I just don't like. That just annoys me. Because the offsets and everything are correct, and calculating the offsets and everything are correct, but it's just that during the title screen you want the offsets to be different from what they are in the gameplay screen, because the gameplay has the like the other gameplay UI on the side. How bad would it look? How bad would it look if I just centered this in the middle of the... Oops, help. If I just center this in the middle of the window during gameplay also. Would this look stupid? Because that would certainly be the easiest fix. Yeah, see, like this it's centered as it should be. And if I were to go into the settings menu over here... No, see, this looks stupid too. And I could duplicate the settings menu and have different versions of the settings menu for the title screen and for gameplay, but I don't want to. That would be... Like, if I want to make a change to the settings menu elsewhere, then it would have to be, like, the change would have to be made in multiple places, which I don't want. Having, like, the effective game window being only this size in gameplay mode really does throw a wrinkle in positioning UI stuff. I think what I'll do instead... See, I have an idea for how to deal with this, but I know it's going to blow up in my face. Like, it's either going to blow up in my face in unpredictable ways, or it's going to be really awful code. Alright, parent UI, we'll get another variable definition. This variable definition is going to be... adjust with gameplay UI. It's going to be a boolean, and it's going to default to false. In the game controller, I think I can close most of these windows now. In the game controller, we'll keep track of some variables. Let's call them PSEUDO window width and for bits of UI with that checkbox checked that we just wrote, I will use the pseudo window width and pseudo window height instead, and that's going to be in, like, on the title screen and elsewhere, it'll be just the regular window width, and in actual gameplay levels, it will be the, like, window width minus the amount of UI on the side. And I'm gonna hate it, but it's probably going to be the least trouble going forward. So I'm gonna go with it because I want this game to be done before never, you know? Next, we can also go into the step event. Oh no, that won't do it. I'll need... What are the game states? Okay, so I can say if this is a... if we're in the title game state. Else, it is going to be this minus... Did I hard code the size of the window width and window height? I feel like I probably did. Instead of hard coding it, I can say like inst game background, like a pointer to that instance, dot sprite width. And then instead of using the window width and window height directly, WW is going to be that. If that is true, game controller dot pseudo window width, else the actual window width. And then same thing for height, HH. And we can actually use these values. Alright, does that look good? Now it looks good. So, HH is always going to be window height anyway because I'm not messing with that up here. But I guess I just kind of wrote it automatically because I tend to treat window width and window height as one and the same, and if I'm going to mess with one, I'm going to mess with the other. And I guess if I wanted to put similar gameplay UI on the top or bottom of the screen, that would allow me to do that. Now, this is probably going to... There's like a 60% chance this is going to blow up in my face. Oh, you know what I need to do, because I haven't set this to true for anything, is I need to actually go into the settings UI, and I need to, for each and every one of these UI objects, I need to... Really? The UI block raycast needs code for that as well. because that doesn't derive from parent UI. Okay, so let's bring over the changes to the end step event. This is where, like, multiple inheritance or interfaces might come in handy, but now that the background object, the block raycast object, also has that property, now I can go and just, like, check off that box for all 20 or so of these objects. And that's going to be fun. I'll see you in a minute. Alright, I think that's the last one. I'll find out in a minute, one way or the other. The nice thing about this change is that if I missed one of those many options... that's even worse. If I missed one of those many options, I will know immediately. Variables, adjust with gameplay UI? Why was it not doing that then? Did I forget to do anything? Alright, this should be all of them. The nice thing about this change is that if I screwed it up, I should know immediately. Let us go into the settings menu. That is not correct, and the interesting thing is that this is not correct in two separate ways. I have no idea why the raycast UI is getting shifted farther over and the main UI is doing nothing at all. Let's enter a level. And... oh, you know what? Alright, for one... Now that this has had... what on earth? Did I lock two of these for some reason? I didn't even know I could do that. Alright, anyway, for one, if I were to actually center this in the window now, it should be approximately centered in gameplay. Alright? Alright, so it's like, it's centered sort of in the title screen now. And if I were to go into gameplay mode, alright, it looks good in gameplay mode. So we're like 2/3 of the way there. But it, like, the buttons and text labels look good in title mode also, but the UI raycast thing in the background does not. I can't help but wonder. Alright, that didn't really help on account of them being like a bunch of these. Let me only do that for the one that I'm looking at. I can't help but wonder. Alright, so the accepted width is 1366 and the offset is 320. The offset should be 0 here. I did check the box. Is the alignment value not set correctly? Ah, yes, alright. Horizontal align should be center, vertical align should be middle, although I think the middle alignment isn't going to move anyway, so it's just the horizontal and vertical alignment that I care about. Okay. That looks good. If I were to scale up the screen size, it still looks good. If I were to hit the escape key, then it breaks. Okay, that's probably a separate bug. I'll deal with that immediately after this one. Settings. Alright. This on the side, obviously, not, like, ideal, but that is some UI scaling that I'll probably address some other time. Alright. Yeah, when you hit the escape key, it's trying to go back to gameplay mode, even if you're in title screen mode, which is not perfect. Alright. Even though it's the same menu, that was fairly painless once I realized what was happening with the alignment values. All right, I can move this to the finished file. Since hitting the escape key in the pause menu, in the settings menu, and crashing is a fairly big deal. I'm gonna fix that next. Dot unpause if self.state is playing. Let's see what happens when you unpause. When you unpause, yeah, you go to play state even though there is no like play state. Did I should probably delete that line where I was printing out these values, huh? That would be here. All right. I guess I could have a variable that's like previous game state or like previously was playing or something like that. I could also say if room equals room title, then we'll just basically we'll just hide the. We can safely assume that we're showing the settings menu, and we can just hide the settings menu. And in that case, this button, what does this button do? We can just hard code it to show the level select screen. Again, that's a little messy, but I'm not planning on adding any other types of title screen to the... I'm surprised I didn't notice this issue earlier, by the way. I can just add that little hard code quick fix so that when you hit the escape key in the settings menu from here, you just go back to the level select screen. There shouldn't be any other type of pause menu that has reason to be shown on the title screen. All right. That's kind of getting into the territory of some of those bugs that are just so like specific they're kind of amusing. Anyway, cleared particles on level start/end. So I think I've decided that I like the particles there when the game restarts. Like when you restart a level and then the bugs that are already on screen like poof into oblivion, and then you get to see that happen. But I think I would like them to not do that when you do something like go back to the level select. So if I were to go into a level, and if I were to get out of the level, okay, so they don't poof then. But if I were to restart the level, they do. Have I already taken care of that? Oh, you know what? These are particles that are already there now. Quit to title, and they'll still be there. And apparently the bullets will also still be there, which is not really good. So, room start, part system clear. I can clear the particles on room start. I don't know if this will also fire in on room restart. I'm surprised that I've been able to get away with just doing room restart without anything bad happening so far, but I guess, like, say for the particles, everything that's being instantiated in a level is staying in that level, and it's being destroyed on either the cleanup event or on room end, so that probably wouldn't be the most troublesome of game maker systems. But let's see. Particles.system is the index of that. And let's see, I can restart you there, and that does appear to clear the particles even on room restart. So if I can also say if self.state equals game states dot title. So only if you're going back to the title screen, you can clear the particle systems. proof if I were to have a bunch of those out. Oh, interesting. The particle system simulation keeps playing when you pause the game. I swear it didn't used to be like that. Anyway, it doesn't happen there. The bullets do stay on screen, though. I would like to clear the bullets. And that should also happen regardless of whether you're going back to the title screen or restarting the level. Let's put a bunch of bullets on screen. They stay there. Is there another instance of bullet? Oh, you know what that is? That's not actually bullets. That's just the application surface not being cleared. Okay. That's another thing entirely that I'll have to do. Yeah, that's another system entirely that I'll have to take care of, like having a background for the title screen, but that will be probably an entire dedicated video of its own. Alright. Enough of that. Which one was that? That was this one. Make the bullet hitboxes slightly bigger when they're yours. Yeah. So what bullets do I shoot? I'm just shooting regular bullet. These are also used elsewhere by other enemies, I have to imagine. Game Maker doesn't, I don't think, allow you to... Oh, you know what? It kind of does. I was gonna say, like, Game Maker doesn't really allow you to, change, like, the collision mask scaling independently, but I can just set its collision masks to something else. I feel like eventually it wouldn't be a bad idea to just create a bunch of different collision masks. I think I did that for enemies. Like SPR collision player and SPR collision other things and that sort of thing. I guess I might as well SPR collision bullet. And that's actually going to be just straight up this thing for most bullet types. And I'll have a separate one that's bullet player. I can say that for the collision mask. Derived bullet types can also have their mask set. So that's the homing bullet, the exploding bullet. I'm not super happy with the way that I implemented different bullet types in this game, but it hasn't been that much trouble since I did it. I just feel like it could have been a lot quicker if I had just gone with a simpler solution instead of making like multiple derived types. Anyway, collision bullet player, I can edit this. I can make this, let's say 12 by 12, make it a little bigger. Its origin is still going to be middle center, and when the player shoots it, shot dot mask index is going to be SPR collision bullet player, and that should have like foes shooting at me be the same, but my bullets will act like they're slightly bigger, and players will feel like they were able to land a hit. I need I need something that actually shoots at me. Alright, so it looks like the collision box size is the same, if I can actually take a hit on purpose, but my bullets should be a little bit easier to hit other things with. And I might make this bigger still. I might make it twice as big as the regular bullet, but just having that tiny little affordance should make the game feel a little bit better and should make it feel like you miss by the skin of your teeth slightly less. I will emphasize slightly in here. Alright, where are we? I've been recording for 50 minutes. That is a design aspect that we finished off. When bag worms blow up, allow their bullets to damage enemies too. I feel like if there's a difficulty setting for me to implement in the game, it would be that foes are allowed to friendly fire themselves. I don't know if I want to do that. I haven't put a great deal of thought into difficulty settings. The only obvious difficulty setting for a bullet hell game is like the actual density of bullets on screen.
Hey.
But I also kind of want to. Also, before I forget, speaking of bullets on screen, when you show windscreen, you really should destroy all the bullets. I don't remember if I didn't do this on purpose, if I wanted that to not happen, or if I just forgot. But taking a hit from a bullet and dying after the windscreen shows up feels really bad, and isn't something that should ever happen in a game like this. Alright, so I'm gonna defeat this guy real quick, and the bullets are all cleared off screen. Alright. I think testing that took longer than implementing it. As they should, because that's pretty annoying. Alright, I can check off. Foes keep following their designated path even if the pause screen is up. Didn't I do that already? Did I not? Oh, that was listed twice. Alright, I'll just delete this one, because there's no need in checking it off twice. Alright, I seem to have not written down the bullet clearing issue on this to-do list. Okay. Let's see. I've been recording for 56 minutes. I think I'll take on one more task. Maybe two. Make sure that level names are localized everywhere. That's just like... Oh... Do I want to deal with this now? The gameplay UI, for example, this first thing up here... Okay, so the room name up here, like the level name up here is localized, and I think the only other place where it might not be is in the title group in the level select. And that's a yes, but this is actually not correct. I need to localize the name before replacing the colon with a new line like that. Otherwise, like every language will have something funny happening to we'll have like different versions of each level name with and without the split in there, which I don't really want. And was that also happening in here? That looks like... No, that is being handled correctly. Okay. I sometimes wish you could turn on or off layer visibility without actually having it saved to the project file. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna need to do that for all 12 of these, aren't I? That's gonna be fun. Alright. If I ever do a game like this again, I will definitely be more willing to create derived classes for UI elements that do specific things like this, so that whenever I make a change to how one button looks, I don't have to make a change to 12 of them. Okay. Localize level names correctly. Now all we need is for each language that the game might read from to have level names formatted as like level 1 colon the level name. And I don't know if that's going to be weird when it comes to languages that don't use Latin characters like Arabic or East Asian languages, but at the very least you won't have to create like multiple copies of each level name for different formats like that, because that's just dumb. Okay. That's going to be that. That was a fairly arbitrary 10 points, I feel. I don't think that was the the names aren't really shown in that many places. And lastly, I'm going to have some form of object hit feedback. So I've decided that I like the idea of having objects like pulse a little bit. So if I were to go into what is the base entity class? When you take damage, different object types have that implemented differently. The on damage method. All right, let's create a hit flash method. And we'll also have a self.hitFlashTime. Let's say the hit flash, when you take a hit, we're going to set hit flash time equal to something like 0.25 for the duration of the effect. We're also going to have a hit flash like scale. And we can make that like 1 1/4 times, or maybe 1 1/2 times if we really want the effect to be dramatic. And then in the step event, if hit flash time is greater than 0, we can decrement the hit flash time, lerp from the amount doesn't really matter to me. I just want a cheap effect. And lastly, when we go to draw an object, the scale that we will be building with our matrix with is going to be multiplied by self.hitFlashScale. And now when an enemy takes damage, assuming we don't like return early, we are just going to have the enemy object pulse a little bit. Alright, please work on the first try. And we don't. Instead, we just, like, make you bigger. Okay. That's not quite what I wanted. Why isn't this going down? Oh, wow. I think I just answered my own question there. Updating the wrong variable. Of course, lerping 0.25 to 1 is gonna never make it 0 or decrease or anything like that. Alright, I think that's moderately satisfying. 1.5x might actually be a little much. Maybe you do want to make that 1.25x. I will put that in a config macro in a minute. Once I decide what I want it to be. Alright, I think that's good. That was actually really close to how it looked in my head on the first time. One more thing I want to change. Should I have the player do it too? I feel like I should have the player do it too. And also, if any bosses... entity create, player create, faux template, centipede segment. The segments will also do the hit flash. Bosses inherit their on damage, as do the centipede heads, and then they call the inherited version. Okay, so that's all I have to do. The player should also. Did I get there before I got distracted? I did. Alright, let me just try taking damage. Woo, alright. And I suppose it would also be It would also be prudent to say if hit flash is not greater than 0, set the scale to exactly 1 instead of whatever infinitesimally larger than 1 value it's going to be at. Alright, and then we can macro this. Hit flash duration can be 0.25 seconds. Hit flash scale can be 1.25. And the reduction amount can be 0.1. Could that be delta timed? Yes. Am I going to? Probably not. The important thing is that it starts big and gets smaller, and that should still happen at 30 FPS. I'll check that too. Hit flash duration. Hit flash scale. So if I were to have the game run at 30 FPS, or maybe I should have that respond. It's 0.1 times 60. Lerping with delta time is weird. It's not going to be exactly. 0.1 times 60 is going to be 6. And if your FPS is 30 instead, the time step is going to be 1/30th of a second, and then that's going to be 0.2. Alright, lerping with delta time is weird, but I think that should at least bring you back to the base size in about the same amount of time, so that's about good enough. Alright, we've got fools posting when they take damage, and I think that's going to be where I leave it off here. Did I not give that a cost? Let's say that was... How long did that take? That took about 10 minutes. I'll say that's about 10. Can I add a cost now? Right. Just for some semblance of accuracy when it comes to tracking progress, just so that I don't have a card that's got a cost of 0. But I'm gonna end that off now. Decide a third criteria for a 3rd star in the level. When you return to the game from the pause screen, show a 3, 2, 1 countdown before resuming play to give the player some time to get ready, because I have realized that when you pause the game and unpause it, it's really easy to get yourself hit if you don't put your mouse cursor in exactly the correct position, especially if the player is under where the pause screen would show up. When bag rooms blow up their bullets and allow their bullets to damage enemies too. I think that would be funny. I don't know if that would make the game a little bit of a cheese. Because bag rooms are able to just deal damage to anything in a radius around them, or really anything at all around them. Using alt attack on the centipede segments when there are more than one on the screen causes a crash. That's on GameMaker to fix that bug with the linked lists. Although, like I said, I can rewrite the data structure to not be a linked list and then it won't crash like that. But it definitely appears to be a bug in GameMaker that I'd rather the GameMaker fixes so that I don't have to go back to that. Anyway, I'm gonna send these back to the backlog, where they will join the other, I want to say 4 items that I haven't taken care of yet. Yeah. Next time I will do audio, so I will ahead of time prepare a bunch of sounds, or at least most of the sounds. I may, for some of them, show the process of like me going and searching for adequate sounds for a lot of these situations in a game. But if I show myself doing that for all of them, the video is going to be about 3 hours long, and most of it's going to be me not talking and just clicking on a million sound effects in Windows Explorer, or on OpenGameArt, or on freesound.org, or from wherever. And I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to have a video be that, so I'll try to keep it a little brief and have at least half the video be actually getting the sounds in the game and writing the code for that. possibly writing an audio manager. Anyway, this is where we are. Hopefully by the end of the next video, we will be hopefully mid-80s% of the way through this because there is a lot of grunt work when it comes to audio. This is where the project as a whole is. Definitely moving on a little bit faster than Bombardier was. If you want the code for this, look for the 0.33 release in the GitHub repository in the video description. Otherwise, if you want to support the channel, I have a Patreon. Links to that can be found in all the usual places as well. I hope you all have found this interesting. Where is 0.33? You can always put it in manually, but I did push it, right? Whatever, GitHub. I try to post about 2 game dev videos a week. One let's make a game like this, and one tutorial, usually focusing on the weirder things you can do in Game Maker. I hope you all found this interesting, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Army Armbuster, DJ Gibbles, Edward Holt, Game Maker, KeyXE, Sindra Larson, Squarecrow, The Oz, and Zenith for supporting these videos. If you want to support the channel, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.